And it all goes quiet. How lovely. We have a panel coming up with Bosch in the not too distant future where we will be discussing whether we really are sure that AVs are what we want in our cities. But before we do that, can I welcome our first keynote speaker for today, here to give an industry perspective on automated driving is the head of autonomous transport solutions at our partner Bosch. Please welcome Olaf Mons.
Thanks a lot. So thank you very much also from my side to be the attendant, but also the presenter here in this City Summit. I will give you an insight as a tech player into the automated driving industry. First of all, what are the technological challenges that the whole industry faces at the same time? I think that's important to emphasize again. I think we all have electrification, automation, and V2X services popping up at the same time in the automotive industry, and that's important to mention before that. And everybody uses that, consumer-facing ecosystems, approaching end consumers that enters basically the transport systems, that enters vehicles and fleets. Then on the supply side, I think that also is important to mention, the chip industry is determining the time to markets of automation functions at the moment. There are different chip suppliers out there. Many of them are known. Most of them are in the US or in China. And they basically have a full pipeline. However, the dependencies on chip is crucial for the whole industry. As we convert all these technologies into vehicles, the architectures of the vehicles have to be reshaped accordingly. And this is also a big challenge in the whole industry to design the architectures in the vehicle in a proper way. Then, often forgotten but super important, to fuel the R&D teams, we need to have access to talents globally. We need best talents on different places. What is the answer of Bosch to tackle these challenges? Organizationally first. So we shape our organization according to domains. So we have different domains, the driver assistance domain, driving, that covers all dynamic functions of vehicles, the powertrain, and the interior domains as well. This is important also from a functional development, but also from a safety perspective. Then how to structure it. We have cross-domain development streams, software and hardware development. The software stream has a strong connect to the off-board solution, so the outside of the vehicle. That's often forgotten in the industry. Our developers have a constant access to fleets and vehicles to develop incrementally the functions. I think that's also an important change in the industry. And then the hardware piece cut into different pieces. As mentioned, the components, the embedded hardware, and the computing unit is basically developed by Bosch. We offer this to our customers, and the software organization is supporting all these projects. Bosch is a software company. We have globally 40,000 software developers, of which 1,000 develop level 4 applications. Let's speak about automation. We have different drivers of automation and different worlds. The world we all know as consumer is a privately owned car. This kind of vehicles are constantly enriched with higher level of automation functions. They provide comfort functions or also deliver you in the future spare time behind the steering wheel if it's about higher level of automation. So you can read books, you can listen music maybe at a certain point of time, you can have a cup of coffee at the back seat. Second market that appears as well is obviously a pure level 4 market. It's pure TCO driven. So it's all about cost reduction. If we remove a driver, the driver's cost will be saved. Also on the logistics market, it's about TCO reduction. I think that's also important to mention. And all these technologies that the whole industry invests into the spaces is about cost reduction in the second and third world. What is our answer to that? We try and we develop common technologies for all markets. There are some areas of commonalities and technology to reduce the fixed cost. Data that is gathered in the first stream can be used in other streams as well. The methodologies to develop an automotive-ready system can also be developed in all markets. And this is our approach within Bosch, and in some other players in the market, you see that as well. However, there are I would say Bosch is unique in this space because we are attacking all three markets at the same time, and we can leverage this synergy. Then it's about collaboration. If we automate transport, so if we remove the driver, the industry has to partner up and team up. That's super important. It's not about selling a vehicle anymore, it's about shaping an ecosystem. First, and at the forefront, it's the fleet operator that offers transport as a service. It could be a taxi company, it could be a logistics service provider. These companies have to be onboarded. We are engaged with them. Then the OEMs have to deliver a proper level 4 ready vehicle. I think that's also important, that the existing vehicles today are not level 4 ready. And there's also, I would say, a shortage in the market that such vehicles are provided into the markets. The surrounding infrastructure, depending on the use case, needs to be provided. Either it's V2X solutions, or if it's a transport system like TfL is offering, this needs to be connected as well. Then it will be an installer business. So there will be fleets out there that needs to be deployed, installed, and operated. And this needs technical orchestration in the future. So it's a technical service that needs to be part of the whole offering, and we offer that. Then AD development, that's a huge space about people. I will give you a few highlights on that, what we have recently done. Marco has mentioned we have acquired 2 companies recently. And last but not least, and I'm also happy to be here to team up with you, because if we want to bring level 4 into reality, we need to shape a partnership. R&D, level 4 development. We have further increased our level 4 team up to 1,000 developers through different acquisitions that we have recently conducted. 5AI, UK-based, cloud-based development testing platform. It's a world-class simulation environment that is being part of our development in the meantime, that makes the development, the training of artificial intelligence, and especially the validation verification much easier. Secondly, there is an HD map needed, a high definition map for autonomous driving, and we have also recently acquired the company Atlatec located in Karlsruhe in Germany. Second technological slide, I think it's important to mention. There are different ingredients needed to put level 4 into reality. Obviously the technology in the vehicle, but also the service layer on top. And our approach is to have a modular layers that we can easily pick and choose the right solution. And this is very important, as mentioned, on the SoCs, the chips. We need to have a chip agnostic solution, but also the service layer on top. If we offer a transport system or a mobility as a system, this also needs to be have dedicated interfaces to interact with the whole architecture. Bosch is developing all layers and integrating that properly into the customer environment. Then the magic point comes. That's the last technological slide I'd like to share. The magic moment is, when can you really be sure that you can remove the driver? So when is safe enough? How do you know? What is legally compliant? And the whole industry is still working on that. So that's and it will be always a work in progress in the whole industry, when the lawmakers and the tech companies need to work together closely. What we often see in the industry is we see this shiny world. Everything is working perfectly, great driving conditions, robotaxis or trucks driving in a nice way. We are all impressed. However, the iceberg is much bigger than the shiny world above. And the common pitfalls we often see are, let's say, considering wrong metrics in development. So the disengagement rate, we often read in the US companies or Chinese companies, is a good indicator, but it's insufficient. So what does it mean? If a vehicle or shuttle, for example, drives 10, 100, 1,000 times forth and back without disengagement. So what does it mean? Is it then safe enough that you can remove the safety driver? Probably not. It's an indicator, but not more. Then failure models. I think we often see that the assumptions that are made in the overall system are a little bit simple. It's not sophisticated. It's good, but not enough. And as we have, let's say, globally big tech players absorbing a lot of R&D resources, the question is, how does a development organization develop the product in an auditable way, that if an accident happens, that the company then can prove that the product and the whole system has been developed properly. And this thing is underestimated, because you have to do that from the very first day. You can't renovate one day before the SOP your whole engineering processes. You have to do that at the very beginning. What do we do? And others in the market are doing similar things. It's basically, it's on the one side having a real abstraction of the real world scenario, so to really look at the operational design domain thoroughly, to then conclude what is the system requirement, what is the system architecture that needs to be provided, including all redundancies. And then often forgotten is also that all components and functions in the system needs to comply with a fault-tolerant system. So it's not only the whole architecture, every individual piece needs to be compliant. And at the end, to remove the safety driver, validation is super important. And there again, as we have new colleagues from 5AI, they also support us in statistical and simulation methods to avoid on-road testing to reduce miles, but also to provide a robust validation to finally remove the safety driver. Finally, and importantly, yes, in Silicon Valley there are level 4 players out there, and in China and in Germany plus Silicon Valley we have our Bosch fleet running. It's a vehicle fleet size of 11 vehicles we have in operation, and it's a level 4 system that we have embedded. And I'd like to invite you to a journey, and it starts automatically. What I hear, the video starts now. So that's Stuttgart urban inner city application. The safety driver has just the hands close to the steering wheel, just in case something happens, but he doesn't touch, so that's important to mention. And what you see here is super complex urban driving with our solution in Stuttgart City, having different driving scenarios, and then also, for example, a traffic light. The traffic light is very nearby. We detect that properly. Pedestrians crossing soon. And such scenarios we have completely embedded. And it's a 18 kilometers route in urban, suburban, and highway situations where we basically drive without any driver engagement. The famous roundabout, quite a bit of complex, but we handle that properly. And what you see very soon is also the entering the highway application. Here, for example, we're entering the state road highway. It's the A8 in Stuttgart, further accelerating up to 80 kilometers per hour. Then we have lane changes, I think two lane changes. We see, that's our prediction. We see a vehicle entering our lane, and we change our lane to be fair and nice to the others. And then we further accelerate, still 80, and then further up to 100 kilometers per hour. And I think we will have a lane change again, inserting onto the highway, looking backwards at high speed, seeing if there's a big gap to entering this lane, and then we accelerate up to, I think 100 will pop up. Yeah, that's our level 4 program that we have. And thanks for listening, and I'm happy to follow up the discussions during lunch, coffee, and so on. Thanks a lot.